When you're self-employed, getting a mortgage is usually not about whether you make money. It's about whether or not the person looking at your file actually knows how to read your situation properly. And this is exactly why two self-employed people can make the same money, have the same business, live the same lifestyle, and still somehow end up with two completely different mortgage outcomes. By the way, my name is Ushindi Mutabazi, also known as the Self-Employed Mortgage Guy, and I specialize in helping self-employed Albertans like yourself qualify for a mortgage without waiting 2 years for the income averages, paying more in taxes, or changing the way that you run your business. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what a mortgage broker actually is, the real difference between a bank and a mortgage broker, and why if your file needs any customization at all, a broker is usually the smarter first step. Now, before we get deeper into bank versus broker, let's clear up what each of them actually do. A bank employee works for one institution. That means they can only offer you the bank's products that fit in the bank's rules. A broker's value is not just getting you a mortgage, it's helping you look at multiple different paths and then matching your situation with the option that makes the most amount of sense. Most people think the decision is about where to get a rate, but the real decision is, do you want one opinion or do you want an actual strategy? Do you want one product or do you want options? And if you're thinking, okay, Ushindi, that sounds good, but my bank already knows me. Look, I get it, okay? That's exactly why so many people stick with their bank. It feels familiar, it does feel easy, it is a little bit easier, and it does feel safer, but familiar and best are not always the same thing, especially when your income is not perfectly simple on paper. Imagine you walk into a store to buy a pair of shoes and the sales rep says, perfect, we only have this shoe available, without even asking about what you're using the shoe for. And the reason I bring that up is because that's exactly how I personally think about the whole bank and broker situation. It's not good versus bad, it's not right or wrong. It's not that banks are terrible. Banks are one option, and for some people, they are the perfectly fine option. If your income is simple, you know your tax shows strong income, and your credit is strong, your down payment is clean, and your file fits nicely into the institution's guidelines, a bank might work out just fine for you. But if your file needs any interpretation, if your income needs to be understood properly, if you're self-employed, incorporated, and write off heavily, or your paperwork just tells a different story than what you're actually living in real life, then limiting yourself to one lender and one bank can become a very expensive mistake. Before we keep going, if you're self-employed and planning to buy in Alberta within the next 6 to 12 months, click the first link in the description and complete my 3-minute mortgage readiness quiz. One of the biggest reasons people never end up buying is because they never feel ready, and most of the time, they have no idea how close they actually are. So I want to help you out and provide some clarity. Once you complete that quiz, I will personally record you a custom video within 24 hours breaking down your numbers, explaining exactly how a lender would likely view your file, and laying out a clear approval strategy based on your current situation and your goals. This quiz is not a mortgage application. I will not be pulling your credit. This is just a chance to get some answers and get one step closer to buying your home. Let's get back to the video. I don't just mean expensive in terms of rate. I mean expensive in opportunity, expensive in flexibility, expensive in approval amount, stress, time. If you're self-employed, you already know what it feels like to work hard, make good money, and still have somebody look at your paperwork like you're unstable. It sucks because from your perspective, you know the business is healthy, you know money is coming in, and you know you can afford the payments, but maybe you have a great accountant so the paperwork doesn't fully reflect that, and suddenly you feel misunderstood. For a lot of self-employed buyers, the most frustrating part of the whole mortgage process is not the effort, it's not the document, it's not even the waiting. It's the feeling of being misread. The feeling of being judged on a version of your finances that doesn't even fully represent how you actually operate. The problem is usually not that you're self-employed. The actual problem is that self-employed income often needs to be looked at in the right lens. Because one lender may look at your file and say this doesn't work out, and another lender may look at the exact same file and say, okay, I see the path. That is why mortgage customization matters so much. And when I say customization, I don't mean doing anything shady. I do not mean forcing an approval when it clearly is not working out. I mean building the right strategy around the positives in your file, not the ones that this specific bank wants to look at. A mortgage is not just a rate. A mortgage is a structure, it's a qualification method, it's payment flexibility, it's payment structure, it's lender fit. It's how the mortgage feels 6 months from now, 2 months from now at the renewal. So if somebody is only selling you on one number and not helping you think through the whole situation, that is not a strategy. That being said, if you're looking to buy in the next 6 to 12 months and you want that plan, that customized plan, click the first link in the description and complete my 3-minute mortgage readiness quiz. Once you complete that quiz, I will personally record you a custom video within 24 hours, breaking down your real numbers, explaining exactly how a lender would view your specific file, and laying out a clear approval strategy based on your goals, your timeline, your file, your documents, your everything. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Self-Employed Mortgage Guy for more self-employed mortgage advice, or if you have any questions, a link for that will be in the description as well.